So it's the 7th of April 2025. This marks the end of the bulk and the start of the cut. It's the big cut because it's the wedding cut. I've got almost exactly 6 months until I get married. Let's see what we're working with. Alright, here we are, obviously. Not the best shape of my life. I feel like underneath all this retained water, there is a lot of muscle to be had because I've been bulking for a while now. This ain't the first time I've cycled a bulk and cut, but I've took this one serious. I've been taking my measurements. I started this bulk on the 24th of the 10th, 2024, and I finished it now, which I haven't put. I think that is about 5 months of bulking. When I started, I weighed 149.6 pounds. That is 67.8 kilos. I weigh 176.5 pounds, 176.5 pounds, which is basically bang on 80 kilos. All right, this is what 5'10", 5'11"-ish at 80 kilos looks like currently. Do I look out of shape? I don't know. Like I said, I have been working out hard. I work for a gym. I'm a videographer for a gym, so I'm around a lot of PTs. So I have been taking my workout serious, and I've took my measurements. This isn't just about weight. This is about measurements. So my waist currently is 35 inches. You're supposed to measure your waist from up here, right? I don't do that. I measure it from like just where my belly button is. Just where the belly button is 35 inches, because if I get pants, I'm not going to wear them up there, am I? So I kind of keep it. I just kind of do like the biggest part, 25 inches. How many times can I say 25 inches? A lot. Okay. My left arm, which is this one, is 13 inches. And my right arm is 12.6 inches. So there's a deficit here. This left arm's bigger. When I tense it, this one is 14.9 inches, almost 15 inches. And this one is 14.2. And that's how I know my workouts have been going well. Even on my last bulk, when I weighed this much, my arms were never that big. So I've definitely put on, at the end of the bulk, I don't care what I weigh, I just want my waist to be around 31, 32 inches and ripped. And I want my arms to be, I still want my arms, I know they're not gonna be there, but I want them to be 14 inches. I feel like I'm gonna lose more. This arm, maybe. This one's definitely not gonna be there. My chest is 38 inches. My thigh, both of them, I mean, I won't get them out in the video, I don't think that's necessary, but they're both about 22.5 inches. And my shoulders, which I've awkwardly measured just around everything, is 45 inches. I hate when people do before and afters, and the before is like really bad lighting, and it's horrible, and then the after, like they've got a tan on, they've got a pump on, that like they're looking really good. So I'm gonna keep everything exactly the same. And as so, where I'm standing now, I'm in my New Balances and my navy Slozenger joggers. I'm standing directly in line to my fireplace. I've got 2 lights, one here directly on me. They're not in great lighting, they're just boom, boom. Camera settings, we have lens, 24mm. Shutter speed is 1/50 at 25 frames per second. The ISO is 400 and the aperture is spot on 5. And this is what it results in. So here is the before. Couple of sad faces for the before photos. And now I guess we fast forward to either 6 months from now or when we finish the cut. I'll see you then. Well, has it been 6 months already? ready. Whew. What a journey. Look at that. Look, I'm in the exact same place as I was 6 months ago, in line with the fireplace. I've got the 2 lights in the same place, the camera in the same place. I'm using the exact same camera, lens, microphone and camera settings. I've got the New Balance on, the lozenges. I've even gone with the same t-shirt. First things first, the date. Tuesday the 30th of September 2025. That is 5.7 months, not quite 6 months. Truth be told, I expected the cut to end after 4 months, and I was going to spend 2 months prior to the wedding messing around, but in the beginning of the cut I did mess around. We'll get into that. Let's talk about what you want first, the statistics. So it has been 5.7 months. That is 25 weeks and 1 day. I'm now officially at the end of the cut, alright? Party, the cut has finished. The world's longest cut, 25 weeks of cutting, 5.7 months, 25 weeks and 1 day. I'm tiptoeing around it, taking my top off. Let's just do this. Right, keep in mind, this isn't the most optimal lighting. So when normally you see someone's before and after photo, the before photo, and we spoke about this in the original video, is straight on lighting, and the after photo is always going to be optimal. It's going to be side lighting, we're going to have shadows, we're going to have a little something like this, and you know, we're going to turn these lights off. There's 1, we're going to turn this light off. There's 2, we're going to be here, we're going to get this at a nice low light, and we're going to be like about here probably. I can't see because I'm not behind the camera, but that look alright? Anyway, my point is that's what you'll normally do for anyone doing like before and after photos, but we're not doing that. And we're not doing that because the whole idea here is that it's the exact same thing. The one thing that frustrated me more than ever at the beginning of this journey was I could not find any reliable sources of a before and after, because it was all either they weren't giving people's heights and proper measurements, or they just was doing it in completely different places, and I was tired of all the tensed photos in the afters and all the belly sticking out in the before. That's why we're doing this, so you can see without all the camera tricks and without me trying to build myself up to say, look at the amazing transformation I had, just so you've got a real transformation. I am now 141 pounds, that's 64 kg. I was, if you remember correctly, 176 pounds, which means I've lost 35 pounds or 15.8 kg, which equates, I've done the maths for you, to about 1.4 pounds per week. That was not 1.4 pounds per week consistently, let me tell you. The first 2 months of this cut, I was playing around. I was losing like half a pound a week, and then I would gain a pound, then I would maintain, then I would lose 3 pounds, then I would put on a pound. I was all over the place. It's probably only been like the last, I want to say 2 months that I really locked in. I said, hey look, wedding's coming up, I've got to do this, I've got to finish this video, let's start dialing down on this cut. So for the last 2 months I've been losing consistently about 2 pounds a week. Measurements, let's talk about measurements, right? The waist, I said I would be happy if it was 31, 32 inches. The waist is now 29 inches. This is the smallest waist I've had since before I ever started taking my measurements, because like I said, I've done some cut and bulk cycles before and never once has my waist dropped this low. Last week I took my suit back to the suit shop for alterations. They had to take about 3 inches off the waist and put it in. They said, what the hell, have you been on that Monjaro? I said, no, I've been doing a cut. In the beginning video, I said I had an imbalance, I've still got an imbalance. This was almost 14 inches. This arm was like 14.6 inches, right? I said I would be the most happy person ever if I finished and this arm was still 14 inches. I also said that's probably not going to happen because I was dropping down to a waist size of like 31 inches. That did not happen. The end statistics are that this arm, my right arm is, and this is tensed on the old arms, is 12.9 inches, so teeny tiny, and my left arm is 13.3 inches. So I think I've lost, and I'll put this on the screen, of all the statistics, the waist, the arms, the chest, the legs, and what I've lost. But it's about over an inch of the arms, though. I don't think they look terrible. I honestly don't, and I'm not mad. I'm not stressing out thinking to myself, have I lost all this muscle? Have I lost loads of muscle? Because I lost so much weight. Right, here's the thing. It turned out I was a lot fatter than I thought. And I can see that now watching the beginning video. But when I first filmed that video, I absolutely had convinced myself that I only had to lose about 20 pounds. I was looking at that first video thinking, I'm about 24, maybe 25% body fat. If I lose 20 pounds, I'll be ripped. Absolutely not. At 35 pounds I've lost, and I could probably lose another 5 pounds just off the bottom. I was way fatter than I thought. I was going around thinking my arms were like muscular, thinking that the gym's really paying off. I've been putting in the work. I've got muscly arms. No, I was fat. I had fat arms. I had so much less muscle mass than I actually thought. And you can tell just looking at my face, because in the original one, my face was quite fat, whereas now my face is quite slender, lean. Plus, if I look historically at what my weight has been and what my arms have been, I have never been, normally, I've never been this low in weight where my arms have been this big. So yes, the arms are small, and yes, I don't have as much muscle on them as I first anticipated. However, my starting point now for the bulk is unparalleled to anything in the past. In the past, I've been 150 pounds and I had the same size arms. I've been 160 pounds and had the same size arms. Now I'm basically 140 with these arms. These are realistic results. You can look at this and say, well, there's a guy not tensing in the exact same light he was in before, which isn't necessarily good light. Maybe that's more of a realistic goal for you than some of the things that you see on Instagram. However, that being said, I will give a little bit of advice because I feel like some people might care about this. How did I lose the weight? One, I really got into my food. I've been eating ice cream every single night. Protein ice cream. I make it in a Ninja creamer with, it's basically just a protein shake, milk and protein powder, and I whip that up. And I've got ice cream every single night with chocolate chips, with Biscoff. So I'm not cutting out the sweet treats. And because I'm doing that, and because I'm really enjoying the food, I'm not doing substitutions. So I'm not doing, instead of pasta, I'll just do less pasta. Or instead of pizza, I'll do a flatbread pizza. What I've been doing instead is just finding really delicious, healthy foods. Really delicious food that is just naturally healthy. Cardio-wise, I tried out a few different things. When it was sunny, I was doing tennis, which I really enjoyed. I tried skipping for a little bit, but that felt like too much of a chore. And mainly, I've just been running. I've been really getting into my running. That was the thing that worked for me because I enjoy running. What I'm trying to get at with the cardio thing is you got to find cardio that you enjoy doing. Gym sessions, I switched my gym sessions. I was doing a push-pull legs. I actually switched that to full body every other day just recently. Sometimes I didn't hit my protein goals every day. I was shooting for about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I didn't always hit that. Sometimes I had a little bit more, sometimes I had a little bit less. With that being said, let's switch this to some good lighting, shall we? So just for your own sake, in case you care about lighting at all, the last one where I was talking to you, I had 2 lights. I had one here and one here, directly facing me, framing me. For this one, where I want to look a little bit more ripped, what I've done is I've got one light behind me on the floor. You can probably see it here. And what that does is it separates me from the background. It pushes me forward a little bit. You should see a little halo around this side of my arm here and around this side of my body. It frames you in a way that looks a little bit more, so it makes you look like you've got more muscle than you do, or more size than you do. As for this side of me, I've got one light as high up as I can get it at an angle. A lot of people talk about a direct light from above, which is great. It also works from below, also works from the side. The key is that this side is all dark and this side is light. So any shadow that I've got is going to be, what's the word? It's going to look better. Like these look a lot more cut than they did in the last one. So that's the difference lighting makes. But anyway, let's do a bit of posing, shall we? So we can compare the two. And there we go. That is the longest video I've ever made, as in the time it took me to make it. Almost 6 months from start to finish. That is the bulk and that is the cut. Is it a success? I think so. I don't think I can get much leaner without looking seriously ill. There's so much about getting lean that I didn't expect, which makes me not want to get leaner, just in like how I feel, my mood, my everyday, just eat, and like my face. I feel like my face looks better with a little bit more fat on, so I'm excited to bulk. The thing I've learned from cutting down, I was way more fat than I thought I was. So next time we're lean bulking, okay? And that'll be the next video.